Welcome to Tech Transformation with CGT and RIS News. I'm Lisa Johnson, the editor-in-chief of CGT. In this episode, I'm talking with Jackie Long, Director of Merchandise Process at Bealls, and Richard Widdowson, VP Global Retail and Consumer Solutions at SAS. Richard's also a member of the CGT RIS Executive Council, which is a cross-forum gathering of industry innovators who meet to exchange ideas and trends. Let's dig in a little bit more about why you partnered with SAS. Tell us a little bit about, really what were these pain points that you're experiencing when you wanted to, leverage new technology?
Well, so I, of course, was in a very different position when we first chose and implemented SAS. I understand that one of the main reasons that we chose SAS was because of their strong forecasting capabilities. So my leadership saw a lot of value and potential for our future around forecasting and how we can embed that into our planning and allocation processes. Obviously coming off green screen, everything was manual back then. So I remember the Excel worksheets and having to do queries to get the data. So this was obviously a significant improvement in the way that we allocated, no longer planning in Excel either. So this, moved us light years ahead to something that's far more sophisticated and integrated through the entire process.
So tell us, let's set the stage a little bit. Tell us a little bit about how you're using this technology within your stores. What does it look like for Bealls?
So about 6 years ago, we actually did our implementation around auto allocation. So, a simple example of this is we have a purchase order that comes into the distribution center. When we receive it, it automatically goes into SAS and the allocation by store is done. And then it automatically goes back to the DC so that they can physically pack the product by store. So no manual intervention is needed. For stores, it means a much faster response to actual selling performance since we're doing it right before it gets shipped to them. But one of the other really big wins is actually for our distribution center. So, our DCs have functioned much like many others with split shifts over the course of the years. And we certainly did not always have someone to allocate the product right along with them. So what that would mean is that we would get a backlog of things that are staged in receiving. And so the analyst would come in the morning and there's a lot of product just waiting for them. It also means that our whole transportation pipeline is not fully primed. So we have little chunks and backlogs, which is not good for efficiency for any sort of a supply chain situation. So AA, or auto allocation, has essentially allowed them to function nearly 24/7. So we don't have to have analysts who are sitting there just waiting for the DC to do something, and they don't have to wait on us either.
So I imagine this makes a lot of your employees very happy. So what's been the response from them?
So initially, there was lots of hesitation. So remember, we did this, 6-ish years ago. So the general sentiment around automation back then. So I did some research to see how did everybody feel, and it was not really great. Everybody was still really nervous back then. I'm going to say globally
skeptical.
Right. Yep. But Bealls was not different from that either. So they were nervous about, what are my roles and responsibilities for my job? What does this mean about my position in my future? How do I make sure that it does what I would have done? So those were a lot of the typical conversations that had to be discussed regularly to make sure that everybody was comfortable that the system's going to do the best thing for us. And so lots of meetings were held to have, Q&As and address any of the concerns that they had. There were targets to help them get on board. So it certainly was a process, but I'd say now we have full adoption. People love it. And then even more so that now I have users coming to me with ideas of things that they want to automate that aren't currently automated. So, in general, I feel like there's a very good comfort level around automation now.
So that's exciting. So it sounds like you had to do really a lot of change management work to get people not only on board, but now you've even it sounds like evangelists in your organization for this technology.
Yeah, we certainly do.
So, and how is this technology improving your ability to serve customers, especially right now?
I mean, there's several facets to it. So I'd say in general, right now for retail, and we of course are the same in that our history is much less predictive of what we can expect going forward. This is partially due to the last 3 years and everything we've lived through very, very quick changes in consumer demand, which has been hard to predict and then chase after. Vendor shortages of the things that we knew that we wanted, stock out, supply chain issues, inflation keeps changing, consumer demand. And so the automation that we've deployed gives us the ability to react a lot closer to actual, performance of the stores. So, best case scenario, we have the ability to forecast what to expect and buy into it. But the next best thing is to react really quickly when it doesn't exactly happen the way that we thought it was going to.
Richard, when Jackie's talking about the retail environment, I mean, does this dovetail with what you're hearing? You work with a lot of retailers, within the same category or not. So what is this? Does this sound similar to what you're hearing elsewhere? I would love to get a broader perspective from you.
Sure. No, absolutely. And Jackie's story is such a great story, and we hear it so many times. I think when I've lived in the green screen world as well, Jackie, and when you think back to how technology has evolved over the years, and it's playing such a critical role today. I mean, I think it's safe to say that it's no longer a point of differentiation now. I mean, it's table stakes, to survive in the modern retail industry as we see it today. And I think as you described it, and we hear the same thing around the world, is, you have this data, how do you leverage the data? How do you make decisions from the data? I love your story around you doing that, automatically. And then the value that data provides, which you articulated, perfectly. So I think, the technology that's out there that allows you to get more done in that automatic way. And it's really now what we hear a lot, Lisa, now as we talk to people, it's around, how do I do this fast? I need the fastest, I need the most productive, AI analytics platform. And really when, companies can embrace that kind of capability and have that speed and efficiency, that's really what's now starting to drive the differentiation as retailers are moving forward.